I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Monday, March the 4th, 2013. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden addressed the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee Policy Conference today, expressing the ongoing commitment of the U.S. and President Obama to Israel's security.
Our deep commitment to the security of the State of Israel. That has not changed. That will not change as long as I and he are President and Vice President of the United States.
Regarding stalled peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians, Biden told the AIPAC conference that while Washington strives for a two-state solution between Israel and the Palestinians, the U.S. understands that, quote, it takes two to tango, and that the Arab world has to, quote, get in the game. The vice president also spoke about Hezbollah, saying it was a terror organization, period, and that the U.S. would do their part to get the European Union to make the same declaration. Regarding Iran's nuclear threat, Biden said the U.S. is not bluffing about their determination to stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. He said the U.S. was not looking for war and prefers a diplomatic solution, and that there was still time for talks, but that window was closing. The AIPAC Policy Conference in Washington, D.C. began Sunday morning, and Shalom TV has been broadcasting the plenary sessions live and will continue to do so today and tomorrow. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also addressed the AIPAC conference today via satellite, where he said he would be forming a new government in the days ahead, and that one of the first things that government would do would be to warmly welcome President Obama to Israel when he visits in a few weeks.
I look forward to the President's visit. It will give me an opportunity, along with the people of Israel, to express our appreciation for what he has done for Israel. The President and I agreed to focus our discussions on three main issues. First, Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons. Second, the deteriorating situation in Syria. And third, the need to find a responsible way to advance the peace with the Palestinians.
Regarding Iran, the Prime Minister said diplomacy was not working and that Iran was simply running out the clock in order to buy time and forge ahead with its nuclear program. Regarding the issue of peace with the Palestinians, Netanyahu said both parties have to find a way forward for an enduring and defensible peace, and that Israel will compromise, but as Israel's prime minister, he will never compromise on Israel's security. Meanwhile, earlier today, Netanyahu met with the wife of Jonathan Pollard in Jerusalem and vowed to raise the issue of her husband's clemency with President Obama as well. The time has long since come for Jonathan to go free, the prime minister said. This issue will come up during President Obama's visit. It has already been raised countless times by myself and others, and the time has come for him to go free. Esther Pollard said Jonathan can't anymore. This is a golden opportunity now that the President of the United States is coming. If not now, when? U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in Saudi Arabia on Monday on the issue of peace. The meeting was reportedly a last-minute thing and not on Kerry's original schedule. The Secretary of State had met earlier with the Saudi Crown Prince and other government officials. The Jerusalem Post cites one Palestinian official saying that Abbas had asked Kerry during the meeting for the U.S. to place pressure on Israel to release a large number of Palestinian prisoners and place a freeze on construction in the settlements. And that only on these terms would the PA leadership resume peace talks with Israel. Reuters reports that Israel's Defense Minister Ehud Barak will be meeting tomorrow with new U.S. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel at the Pentagon. Reuters cited an unnamed U.S. official in the report who further said that the talks between Barak and Hagel would include discussion on Iran and possibly also of how the sequestration could affect U.S. assistance to Israel. Barak's Pentagon meeting with Hagel would be the first face-to-face visit for the new Secretary of Defense with a foreign counterpart. The Shin Bet, Israel's security agency, announced today that they have uncovered a Hamas terror cell in Hebron that was planning attacks on Israeli targets. The announcement follows several months of a joint effort between the Shin Bet and the IDF. The terror cell was led by a Hamas operative who was expelled to Gaza as part of the Gilad Shalit prisoner exchange deal. Security sources said the arrests of several members of the cell signify the ongoing threats posed by Hamas's infrastructure in the West Bank and attempts by Hamas in Gaza to resurrect its terror capabilities in the West Bank. And finally, back here in the U.S., 2 men have been indicted for a string of firebomb attacks. A grand jury in New Jersey's Bergen County voted to indict Akash Dalal and Anthony Graziano for 30 counts, including attempted murder, bias, intimidation, and arson, for a series of synagogue bias attacks that took place in December of 2011 and January of 2012. The attempted murder charges stem from the firebombing of Temple Beth El Rutherford Synagogue, which was also the residence of a rabbi and his family who escaped unharmed after several Molotov cocktails were thrown into their home. The Anti-Defamation League welcomed the indictments, saying they send a message that anti-Semitic attacks on the community are unacceptable and will not be tolerated. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Monday, March the 4th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.